unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. T&Cs apply.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
It starts with a simple order. A cold Dos Equis dressed with salt and lime. But for the salt clinging to the bottle and the lime perched on top, this is the luckiest of unions. As if the universe has swiped right, pairing flavors together with a crisp Dos Equis. This is refreshment designed by fate, blessed by destiny, and served by bartenders. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
I'm sure everyone says this, but my mom really deserves the world. This year, I finally found a Mother's Day gift that comes close. She loves Hellsberg, so I'm getting her these timeless gold earrings she can enjoy for years to come. They feel special enough to show how much I truly appreciate everything she does for me. And I mean everything. I even sent my dad a link to the Diamond Eternity band he'll be getting her, too.
Save up to 50% on Mother's Day gifts Mom will cherish forever. Visit Hellsberg.com or a store near you.
Hear that? That's the sound of a loaded cash explosion. It happens every time someone wins loaded cash explosion scratchers from the Arizona lottery. Oh, it's happening again. Since tickets are loaded with $1,000 prizes with explosive top prizes of $2.5 million. Plus, a second chance to win $1 million in the Players Club. Head to an Arizona lottery retailer and play loaded cash explosion scratchers today.
Yo, this is Flavor Flav, and I am coming at you with one of my flavor faves, Raisin Cane's. So when you're looking for flavor fast, order in a flash, online or on their app. Raisin Cane's. One love.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
About as bad of a start to this 16 games in 16 days for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Expectations for the Cardinals in 2025 and why the Suns are telling us a different thing with their actions than their words from a couple of weeks ago. Welcome into hour number one of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you for the next 2 hours. Got producer Evan behind the glass pushing all of the buttons. You can stream the show on the KDUS AM 1060 app. You can also watch the program over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. Let's waste little time and dive into Eduardo Rodriguez and the start that he would love to forget.
Time for our top story of the day. It's the Daily Special.
16 games in 16 days. The Mets for 6. The Phillies for 3. The Dodgers and Giants also on that list. And it started with a meltdown. It's really the only way, I think, to adequately describe what we saw from Eduardo Rodriguez last night. And I don't know if many of us should be surprised by what we saw from Eduardo Rodriguez last night, because he had been flirting with disaster over his last couple of starts. This has kind of been bubbling underneath the surface, this type of blow-up performance where a team just runs all over Eduardo Rodriguez and puts up some crooked numbers, and that is exactly what the New York Mets did last night. 8 runs charged to Eduardo Rodriguez in 4 innings. And it was in his last start that he allowed 4 runs. And it was the start before that one where things, despite the box score line looking okay, you maybe got a little concerned for Eduardo Rodriguez. It was a start that he had in Miami, in which he only allowed 3 runs in 6+ innings worth of work, but he allowed 10 hits. And it wasn't all hard contact, but when you allow 10 hits, you expect more than 3 runs to come across when you're giving up that type of contact. And the timing of those hits, some good defense behind him at times, helped Eduardo Rodriguez not have a huge blow-up inning that sent his day sideways. Last night, his day went very, very sideways. And it went very, very sideways for one very key reason. Could not get out of 2-out situations. The big inning that the Mets had early in this game, you had the bottom half of the order, their number 6, 8, and 9 hitter, set it all up, drive in a couple of runs, and then Francisco Lindor hits the home run that blows the game wide open. And it was a pitcher last night, and Eduardo Rodriguez is not somebody who is going to go out there and fire in 98 plus, 95 plus. He is not somebody who's fastball, cutter, two-seamer, sinker, whatever fastball offering that you have, it is not coming in there with high octane. He is a command. He is a location pitcher. He has to be dialed in. He has to be hitting his spots and allowing that movement, especially with his cutter, to do a lot of the heavy lifting. And last night, his movement was not there. A left-handed pitcher trying to throw cutters inside to right-handed batters. If you miss and you miss middle with a cutter that maxes out at around 91, 92 miles per hour, more often than not, you miss middle. That's going to go in the gap for an extra base hit. And some of the time it's going to leave the ballpark, like what happened when Pete Alonso stepped into the box last night. You cannot miss. When you are a location and movement pitcher, command, I need to hit my spots. If you are off by a little bit, it can lead to a long day because you don't have overpowering stuff. You can miss with a cutter that's maybe 95, 96 because it just gets on hitters in a hurry and they have to make a decision. They're guessing up there. But when it's going 88, 89, 90 miles an hour and it's a cutter running inside, you see the first couple of those and now you can sit back, you can wait, you can kind of predict of how that pitch is going to come out of the hand and you have a little bit more time to react. And that is exactly what the Mets did last night as they blew this game open 8-0. The Diamondbacks were able to crawl back some runs to make it look at least a little bit prettier on the box score, but absolutely the worst possible outcome to start this 16-game road trip. Eduardo Rodriguez has among qualified starters, has the 3rd highest ERA in Major League Baseball. His ERA is north of 6 after giving up 8 runs last night. It has been 6 times through the rotation for Eduardo Rodriguez, and it has been a complete disaster. Now, if you look underneath the hood, and I know nobody wants to hear today about under the hood numbers. I know we like to tell you why maybe what your eyeballs are telling you doesn't necessarily match the under the hood stuff, and why we think, and we were kind of first on this ahead of Corbin Carroll breaking out in that Washington series and going on the run that he was going on. We were telling you that, hey, I know the results maybe aren't there, but the under the hood stuff says that Corbin Carroll's a different player from a year ago. The under the hood stuff for Eduardo Rodriguez shows a pitcher that should be pitching better than a 6 ERA. But the problem last night is your eyeballs told you he's missing his spots. And if you miss your spots, those things are going to get deposited in the seats for runs. You just don't have a lot of wiggle room when your misses are middle, and they're coming in at 91 miles an hour. You are just you don't have any margin for error when that is your repertoire, and you miss the way Eduardo Rodriguez was missing. And oh, by the way, they were crushing every single pitch. The home run on a cutter, there was a home run on a changeup. I think there was a home run on a curveball. I mean, every single offering that Eduardo Rodriguez had last night was getting teed off on by the New York Mets. And now he sits with a 6 ERA here, 6 starts into the season. And we'll debate this a little bit later on in the show. I want to open by just discussing what happened last night. We'll talk about the next steps from here, but it may be time to start having a conversation about replacing Eduardo Rodriguez in this rotation with somebody who's already on the big league roster and who also pitched last night. We'll dive into that a little bit in hour number 2 of the program, but about as bad as things could get for the Diamondbacks to start this 16-game trip, because that's a good team that you're facing. That is a team that right now has the best record in baseball. That is right now. I know the Dodgers are the defending National League champions, but right now in all of baseball, including the National League, that is the team that is playing the best, has the best record. They are right now the standard bearer in baseball. And let's face it, you are a no-show. I mean, we can talk about the offense struggling. We can talk about Lourdes Gurriel having a sub-200 batting average. We can talk about Eugenio Suarez, even after a 4-home-run game, hitting 198. And we can discuss all of those things. They are valid concerns about this team that they do not have an offense right now that is producing. But you're basically asking your offense to score 7+ runs every single night out if this is the pitching that you are going to get on a regular basis. It's just not sustainable. We all knew coming into this season, this offense was going to take a step backwards. It was not going to be the same offense. We thought it could be close because of a Corbin Carroll bounce back, because of Ketel Marte being an MVP candidate. Josh Naylor, I thought, was very similar, at least offensively, production-wise, to Christian Walker from a year ago. So you thought it could be similar. But this was a team that had one of the best offenses in baseball last year, and so far the numbers this year are telling a very similar story. But when your rotation is putting you behind the 8 ball immediately, before you can blink, you go to the ballpark, you go down to Chase Field, you get in there, you bring the family, you stop by the concession stand, you get the hot dogs, you get a couple of sodas, you get the popcorn, you then go to your seats, you look up, it's 3-0 for the opposition. You cannot win baseball games with this being your recipe. You cannot keep up with the Dodgers, keep up with the Padres, keep up with the Giants if almost every single night you're behind the 8 ball. That is a tough hole for your offense to dig out of. And last night, Eduardo Rodriguez dug about as big of a hole as you could get. There's no chance when the game's 4-0, 5-0 against that team. You fall behind 4+ runs to the Mets, the Phillies, the Dodgers, anybody you play during these next 16 games, it's going to be an L. You're going to struggle. This is a recipe that is unsustainable. And you know what? The record of this baseball team right now, 15-14, is very indicative of what they are. Some nights the pitching is there and the bats are hitting on all cylinders, at least enough. Some nights the bullpen gives it away. Some nights the rotation isn't set up to succeed. Other nights the bats are cold. It seems to be something new, a roll of the dice every single night about what's going to go wrong for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and that leads them to being a around 500 baseball team right now. Yeah, they were crushed. I mean, these were not cheap RBIs. These were not cheap hits. They were 2 out, balls that were crushed. The Pete Alonso home run hit the second deck of Chase Field. There's not a lot of home runs that go up to that part of the ballpark. Starling Marte hit a ball. It was his second home run of the season last night. Hit it nearly 108 miles an hour. I watch a lot of Mets baseball. I have not seen him hit the ball that hard this season. I mean, it was like you were setting it on a tee last night. He was missing into the right-handers, and he was setting the ball on a tee. And your point of the offense scores 4 runs, with what we thought this rotation was going to be this season, you would expect that to be enough. And it goes back to every single night, it appears to be something different. You walk into the ballpark, you sit down on the couch to watch the game, and you're wondering which part of the Diamondbacks is going to fall apart today. Is it going to be the bullpen that gives up a lead late? Is it going to be the rotation that sets the team behind from jump? Is it going to be an offense that after the first 4 hitters is woefully inconsistent? Anybody after the first 4 batters, do you have any faith that those guys are going to be able to come through in a regular fashion right now? I know Eugenio Suarez had a 4 home run game the other day. I get it. And you know that once he gets going, he can be hard to stop, and there could be a very large power surge. But you have an offense that after the first 4 hitters is a whole lot of nothing. Sometimes they'll come through, but most of the times they won't. So every single night, it's something different. And that is when you become a 500 baseball team, when across the board, you are inconsistent everywhere. Some nights you're going to get excellent starting pitching. Other nights you're not. Some nights your bullpen is going to be lights out and live up to their potential. Other nights, it's like the circus has come to town. Nights where you look like you have the best offense in all of baseball. And other nights where they look like they should all be back down in Reno trying to figure out how to hit a baseball. John over on YouTube says, watching the Diamondbacks is like watching the Suns right now. The Suns all season long, what was our story about the Phoenix Suns? Inconsistent. When they played their best, it looked awesome. It looked like a team that could make some noise in the playoffs. The problem was that version of the team didn't show up enough. And right now, 29 games into the season, you have a 15-14 baseball team that is following a very similar script. A script of, we are inconsistent. And last night, for Eduardo Rodriguez, who was kind of avoiding this big blow-up performance, it bubbled up and it overflowed last night to what you saw. 480-864-1060, the phone number if you want to join us here today on the program. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. When we come back, they have followed the rebuild blueprint to a T. So what does that blueprint say about our expectations for them this season? We'll talk about it next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alessio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Pierce the Veil. I Can't Hear You World Tour 2025. Pierce the Veil. Live in concert in Phoenix. With Sleeping with Sirens and Beach Weather. Live at Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, June 15th. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
Stars are shining down on Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle has more than 2,200 five-star Google reviews from across Arizona, like these.
They go that extra mile to let you know they care. A wonderful experience.
They treat their clients like family, and their professionalism is the best in the business.
They made sure I got a great offer. Like a bulldog, they fought for me.
Well said, everyone. After any accident, remember, deferred is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THE-EAGLE.com.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We have unlimited data that never slows you down, covered by the Verizon 5G network, and all for less than $30 a month when you get 4 lines. And the best part, we give you a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G when you switch to the 5G Unlimited or 5G Plus Unlimited plan. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
Today at Denny's, buy an original Grand Slam or an All-American Slam and get another for just $1. It's the biggest, yummiest deal in America. One slam for $1. Only at Denny's. Valid at participating locations for dine-in only. Limited time offer.
Save on quality treats and eats during our Mother's Day event at Whole Foods Market. Discover only the best for mom with deals on flowers, candles, brunch favorites, decadent desserts, and more through May 11th. Shop in-store or online today.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. Playoff Jimmy does it again. On a night when Batman, Steph Curry, was not at his best, a busted-up Robin saved the day, taking over in the fourth quarter and giving the Warriors a 3-1 lead over Houston. And although Playoff Jimmy goes out of his way to Batman Steph, they're actually interchangeable. And Butler, battling immense pain, was Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man all rolled into one. He both wrecked Miami's season and saved Golden State's literally all by himself. That's not easy to do. Instead of crying with Jimmy and trying to connect with him over their deceased fathers, Pat Riley should have just given him what he wanted, money and respect. Golden State did, and look where those two franchises are right now. Then again, Miami could match what Golden State had to offer. A team with championship pedigree, desperate for Butler to pump life and swag back into the organization. Playoff Jimmy doing what he does best this time of year, going legend. I'm Jim Rome.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
It can be difficult to follow a plan in sports when it comes to rebuilding an organization. Because if you do it the right way, we're talking about a rebuild. If you do it the right way, it takes time. It takes patience. It takes a lot of effort. And it can be multiple seasons before that work, before that time, before that patience can pay off with the success of being in the postseason and having that franchise, that organization back on the national stage, competing for what everybody's goal is in sports, and that is to win a championship. It's a hard thing to do. It's hard to get the buy-in everywhere. Buy-in from ownership, buy-in from everybody on the business ops side of things. It's one of the things I don't think we talk enough about when teams go through a rebuild. You have a business side of all of these teams that have to sell season tickets, that have to sell the sponsorships, that have to sell the logos all across the stadium, the banners, all of it. Really tough to get everybody to buy into a vision of, hey, this is going to take some time and it may not look pretty, but when we get to the end of this rainbow, that pot of gold is going to be amazing for everybody. Well, the Cardinals a couple years ago, they went down this path of a rebuild. It was a completely clean slate. Something another team in this market, in this town, should probably take some advice from. They got rid of their GM, they got rid of their head coach, and it was time to start over. Monty Ossenfort was brought in to be the general manager, and a few weeks after that, a new coach was brought into the building in Jonathan Gannon. And that started the work. That started the clock on this rebuild process. And it was slow and steady work. Despite some of us maybe wanting them at times to speed it up, some of us at times wanting them to push the chips all in. I think last summer was a big example of this. They stayed true to their process. They slowly and steadily rebuilt this roster. They gave themselves a year to evaluate, to see who on the roster fit in with their identity, fit in with their vision they wanted to build around long term.
and who didn't. And then they spent their first offseason, after their first season on the field, retooling this roster. And then we saw what we saw last year, which was this blueprint starting to morph, this blueprint starting to trend upward. You get in there, you keep the guys you want to build around, you keep the guys that fit your culture, your identity, you get rid of the guys who don't. You bring in more guys in free agency, in the draft that fit that identity, and then you start to build on that success. And that is exactly what they did last season, doubling their win total from a year ago. And we were upset with how it ended. We were upset with the way that they finished last season, and it left us with a whole bunch of questions that needed to be answered. But they doubled their win total from a year ago. They took the smart, calculated approach to slowly and steadily build. They never panicked. They never wanted to accelerate, put their foot on the gas pedal earlier than they were comfortable, despite people like me who sit in front of microphones, maybe at times nudging them a little bit, wanting them to do more, wanting them to be aggressive at the trade deadline last year. I'll raise my hand. We spent a lot of airtime during the season around the trade deadline wondering where the big splash was. You had a team that was 6-4, make that big splash, reward the team that's on the field. They chose not to go that direction. And so the next stage of this blueprint, because they followed it to a T, this is exactly what you do. You get in there, you clean up the mess from the last place, you then start to make it look like the way you want it to look. And then around year 3, year 4 is when the success is supposed to be there. And so if we are following that blueprint, then the expectations on the Cardinals this year have to be at a bare minimum a playoff appearance. We gave you the slow and steady approach. At times we got a little worried about it. At times we got a little anxious. We got a little excited. We wanted to just get on with this. But okay, you had a slow and steady approach to trying to build. You had 2 years to recraft this roster in your vision. You've had now 3 off seasons. And in this off season, the third year where everybody expects things to actually turn and for the results to be there, you've poured gasoline, I think correctly, onto that fire by signing Josh Sweat, by signing Dalvin Tomlinson, by signing Calais Campbell, by drafting Walter Nolan, by drafting Will Johnson, by investing heavily on defense, the area of the ball, or the side of the ball, the big area of concern for this team that played a somewhat large part in you not making the playoffs last year. That's what you decided to do. You've now pushed all in. You've done so at the right time. You've done so on your timeline, not everybody else's timeline, the way you wanted this to go. That means there are no more built-in excuses. There are no more, just wait for X, Y, or Z, or just wait for this to happen or us to make this move. You've been given 3 off seasons. You've been given 3 draft classes, 3 free agency periods to build this roster the way you want it to look. It is go time now. I want to give credit to them for being patient and trusting their process and blocking out all of the outside noise. But that process has led us to this point. And this point is you have to make the playoffs this season. I won't go as far as others. This is something I've seen a lot anytime we talk about the Cardinals, especially on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live chat. It comes up quite a bit that they have to win a playoff game. I got to see what that looks like. Who do they match up against? Is it a favorable matchup for them? Is it a home playoff game? Are they traveling on the road to a tough environment? There's way too many there's a context to that playoff game that I think matters. So for me, it's you got to have a seat at the table. You have to be playing on that first weekend. And if you play a close competitive playoff game and you lose on the road, I don't know how mad we're all going to be because it is still going to be a sign of progress. But if you only win 8 games or only win 9 games and you miss out on the playoffs, or maybe you win less than 8 or 9 games. If you miss the playoffs, I think it's going to force us to ask a lot of questions about the quarterback, and I think we all know where that's going to lead to. I think while it won't directly result to it this offseason, it would wonder if the coach is on the hot seat entering year 4 with no playoff berths. This is the year. Because if it doesn't happen this year, you are then going to start all the way back at the beginning of this process, because you are probably going to be looking for a new quarterback. And that is the hardest thing to find in sports. It is the hardest thing to find in football. The franchise quarterback that can lead you and take you to the postseason. So it is a goal that we have not seen this team reach over the last couple of years. But with the way that they've slowly and steadily built, I think it is incredibly fair to set the bar as high as this team has to make the playoffs in 2025.
You know, when Kingsbury got fired, they went 4-13 in 2022. And you talked about the patience and the slow steps forward. That next year, they went 4-13 again, that first Gannon year. But they also lost in point differential, and you realize they were more into a rebuild than they were the previous year.
And you go 4-13, you make the coaching change, you make the GM change. Everybody is okay with you having a year to just get acclimated. It's a coordinator coming over, getting a head coaching role for the first time. It's a guy in the GM chair who was an assistant GM someplace else. They have to learn these roles. They have to learn the roster. Everybody, I don't want to call it a mulligan year or a redshirt year, but they were given the freedom to just let that first year play out and evaluate. That's fine. Great. No complaints. Last year, you double your win total. Great. Some complaints towards the end of the season with the way things finished, but overall, arrow trending upwards. The arrow has to continue to trend upwards this season, and it has to end with you playing a playoff game. Has to. Because that then is the validation that this slow and steady approach was worth it. That the way you've chosen to go about this rebuild is the right way to do things. I am in favor of the way they've handled this. I have at times gotten a little anxious and have wanted them to do a little bit more. I'm guilty of it. I wanted them to try to make a big splash for a wide receiver this offseason. I wanted them during the year last year to make a big splash and trade for somebody like Trey Hendrickson and make a big upgrade to the defense to try to reward a 6-4 team at the time. I get it. I get a little anxious because you're 10 weeks into an NFL season and the team's 6-4, beating expectations. Let's see where this ends up. Let's see what happens here. I got a little excited. I got a little ahead of my skis. There is no getting excited or more excited or getting ahead of your skis about this team this season. This is the most talented roster that Monty has put together in his 3 years. It is the most talented roster that JG is going to coach. It is the most talented roster on both sides of the ball for Kyler Murray in a really long time. That has to come with playoff results. There are no excuses anymore. None. So they've done all of the right things up until this point. And so because they have taken the slow and steady approach, we enter year 3 and it's okay. We've been patient. We gave you the time. We gave you the space to recraft this roster. Now you've got to reward us. Now you've got to go out there and play quality football on the field to where in November and December, there's meaningful football games, and that in January, the Cardinals are still playing. That's it. That is the bar that has been set with what this team has done this offseason and where they're at in this process. 480-864-1060, the phone number for you to join the conversation. We've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. You can join us over there as well. When we come back, actions speak louder than words. And so far, the Suns' actions are telling a much different story than their words. We'll talk about it next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
9 Inch Nails. Live at Footprint Center, September 16th. Get tickets now at NIN.com. Nine Inch Nails, live in Phoenix. Peel It Back World Tour 2025.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
Are you tired of seeing rust stains in your sinks? Call Culligan. Or scrubbing hard water scale buildup from your fixtures. Call Culligan. We can customize whole home solutions to address common water worries found in Phoenix. And now, for a limited time, you can get better water at every tap in your home for $0 down, no payments, and no interest for 6 months. Problem water is no problem for Culligan. Contact your local water expert today. Contaminants may not be in your water. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for details.
I'm Cameron Scadaboo. My job? Outwork everyone. No shortcuts. No days off. And when I found Moxie Pest Control, same vibe.
Hey, thanks, Cam. It's Austin, owner of Moxie Pest Control. We train hard too, just on bugs instead of linebackers.
Hey, pests are tougher than some of the defenders I've seen, but you guys never flinch.
Nope, never. Whether it's scorpions, ants, spiders, we go in strong every time. And we treat your home like it's our own.
And I've seen it. You showed up in my house like it was game day. Covered every inch, took care of business. You know, Moxie is basically the Cam Scadaboo of pest control.
That's the Moxie way, thorough and relentless, just like you on Saturdays.
Yeah, and now on Sundays.
We can't wait to see you in action, Cam. Cam Scadaboo's got Moxie. How about you? Call 888-MOXIE-10. That's 888-MOXIE-10. And take 50% off your initial service. Moxie Pest Control, the highest and most reviewed pest control company in Arizona.
Every day, savings, energy efficiency, rebates. Every day at APS, you have ways to save energy and money. We know how important it is to keep your bill as low as possible. That's why we offer programs to help you manage your energy use. Schedule a home energy checkup for savings recommendations tailored to your home. Find rebates on smart thermostats. Compare your rate plan options and switch to the plan that would have saved you the most money. Find ways to save at aps.com/brighter.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
Yesterday, we talked about James Jones leading the head coaching search for the Phoenix Suns and what that meant for his future, what that meant for the team's active search, I guess, to rework their front office, what it meant for everything that we expect to happen this offseason for the Phoenix Suns. And I left yesterday's segment, I think, more confused than I was going into it. We tried to find a reason why James Jones, whose contract expires at the end of June, who may not be the head person in charge, depending on who gets added to the front office. If Bob Myers is the guy who comes in, he's definitely going to be above James Jones in the decision-making role. So why is James Jones the point guard, was the phrase that was used in the report we mentioned yesterday. Why is he the point guard for this head coaching search? And I think I found the answer. I did a lot of thinking. I have a 45-minute drive home, normally extends to about 50-plus minutes, close to an hour, late in the day when there's traffic. So I had a lot of time, thought about it again this morning, and I figured it out. I understand the reason why James Jones is still the point guard for this head coaching search. Because the only logical explanation for this
is that what Matt Ishbia said to us 2 weeks ago is not true. That what Matt Ishbia said in his press conference about accountability, about changes coming, about giving us a team that we can all be proud of, was just words. It was fake accountability. It was telling us what we want to hear. You did this as a kid. You got in trouble. You told mom or dad exactly what you knew they wanted to hear so that you could get out of being in trouble and you can get out of the situation. But you were going to go right back to doing the dumb thing that you were doing that got you in trouble in the first place. Actions speak louder than words. What was our main takeaway from that press conference? We said, this is a great start. These are the right words. The right phrases were used here. We talked about accountability. We talked about defensive identity and intensity. And we talked about changes. All of the things that you would put on a Suns exit interview bingo card that you wanted to hear from Matt Ishbia, you heard. But we also said that the actions are going to speak louder than the words, that it is a great start for you to say all of the right things. You now need to follow up on them. And I'm sorry, so far, I'm not seeing a follow-up that matches what those words told us. I'm seeing a follow-up that is a further reinforcement of a team that found themselves in the mess that they were in last season. If you want James Jones to be a part of your front office search or your head coach search, he needs a contract extension. His status and his future of this team after June cannot be a topic of conversation. We can agree or disagree with James Jones getting a say about the future of this team. I've seen people that have described him as the architect of the finals team and that things only went south when Matt Ishbia got involved and made the Kevin Durant trade and traded for Bradley Beal. And I do think that is a little bit of cherry picking and putting all of the bad stuff on the owner and putting all of the good stuff on James Jones. But if you want to have that debate and you want to make a legitimate argument for James Jones sticking in his role and that all that has to happen is Matt Ishbia and Josh Bartelstein have to get out of the way and let the basketball guy do basketball things, we can have that debate. That is a respectable opinion to have, but it should come with a contract extension. If James Jones is going to be the lead basketball executive, and that's a position that you want to take, then why is James Jones not getting a contract extension? Why was that not already a thing that has gotten done? I can tell you why. How bad of an optic would that be? How bad of a look would it be after this season being this bad, this era of Suns basketball being this bad, and Matt Ishbia getting up in front of all of us and talking about changes, talking to us about accountability, and then the first major thing that they do is extend James Jones. See, what you should have done is extended him last year and put a couple more years on that deal so that you didn't put yourself in this exact situation. Because the only way, in my mind, any of this makes any sense is if Matt Ishbia was just telling us what we wanted to hear. Because this feels like we are going down a path where there are going to be too many cooks in the kitchen, where they're going to do these things out of order, where this organization hasn't learned from their mistakes, and it is a process that they are doomed to repeat at a very critical point. They have major moves to make this summer. Major. They have to reshape their entire roster, and they are starting off on the wrong foot. So that is the only way that what is currently going on for the Phoenix Suns makes any sense in my mind. Is that when Matt Ishbia got up in front of that podium and answered all of our questions and used all of those words that we wanted to hear from him, that he was just telling us what we wanted to hear. Is there any other interpretation to what's going on right now? That a guy whose contract is expiring in June and who has not been given a brand new contract extension is not at this moment under contract to construct the 2025-2026 Phoenix Suns? It's going to be May tomorrow. His contract ends in June. That is 2 months from now. 2 months. 60 days? In 60 days, James Jones is no longer going to be an employee of the Phoenix Suns unless they give him a contract extension. And this is the guy that's overseeing your head coaching search right now, leading the way, the point guard. And while that's going on, oh yeah, we're going to make an addition to the front office. Oh yeah, changes are coming to the front office. Really? Have I missed a free agent, a front office move in the last week or so? Producer Evan, this is where you normally, you're keeping eyes
Nothing
and ears.
missed.
I haven't missed anything.
No, I've been scouring Twitter here.
So nothing.
Nothing.
We
I
have
got
not
nothing.
we haven't missed a contract extension for James Jones. We haven't missed somebody getting brought in. None of it. Yet the one thing we have heard is that the guy who in 60 days no longer is employed by the Phoenix Suns is putting together the framework of how they're going to hire their next head coach. Where are my James Jones supporters at right now? This is for you. This question is for all of you. If he is going to oversee this head coaching search, why is he not under contract for next season? Why have they not already agreed to a 2-year extension to give him a runway to try and put together this next version of this team? Is he also going to be a part of the process that brings in somebody new to the front office? None of it makes any sense unless Matt Ishbia was just telling us what we wanted to hear. Because so far, how many weeks ago was that? 2 weeks ago? 2.5 weeks ago?
Roughly 2.5 weeks ago.
2.5 weeks. No changes to the front office. None. Zero. No additions, no subtractions, nothing. And we know that they want to do that first before they hire a head coach, yet the guy who's currently sitting in the chair is working on hiring the next head coach. Make it make sense. I can't, unless what we were told after the season was over was just telling us what we wanted to hear. When we come back, we have spent so much time on the bullpen recently, but the rotation for the Diamondbacks has also become a major concern. We'll talk about it next. The Lunch Break, KDUS, AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind. Oh, my. Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays, 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, August 2nd. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. It's about to get heavy. Shinedown. Live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
At Shane Company, we love a spring engagement, but you might be wondering, how do I find the perfect engagement ring? As a trusted family jeweler since 1929, we get asked this a lot. We have a wide selection of ring settings, like vintage designs with romantic details, floral settings inspired by nature, and classic styles with clean lines and sleek metals. Dreaming of the most beautiful diamond you've ever seen? At Shane Company, we handpick only the sparkliest center stones in all shapes and sizes, from oval to round to marquise, and more. We have gorgeous natural and lab-grown diamonds at competitive prices, in-store, ready to compare side by side. Drawn to certain colors? We're known for our rainbow of vivid natural sapphires, including shades of blue, straight out of a fairy tale, handpicked by our owner, Tom Shane. At Shane Company, we have the best free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, plus resizing, repairs, and cleanings for life. Visit us at shaneco.com or in store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Come visit the all-new Wecopa Casino Resort, formerly Fort McDowell Casino. Whether you're visiting for slots, table games, the Valley's favorite bingo hall, golf, or food, our new smoke-free casino resort is the place to be. Enjoy a fine dining experience like no other at Ember, or go for the lively crowd at WKP Sportsbook and Bar. Wecopa offers 2 top 10 golf courses in the state, and the resort with heated pools and cabanas is the perfect place to relax. Come experience Wecopa Casino Resort today. At Wecopa, we have the best of it all.
Midweek ASU baseball continues here on KDUS AM 1060. Join the Sun Devils as they wrap up their 2-game series against Long Beach State. ASU looks to hone their skills and earn some more wins as the season continues. Join the voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy, with the live call this Wednesday night. It's Game 2 between ASU and Long Beach State. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:30. Right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com/Sun Devils.
A lot of our time recently has been focused on the bullpen for the Arizona Diamondbacks and the struggles that that group is going through. Specifically, Justin Martinez. Although they did get good news yesterday, I would consider this relatively good news about A.J. Puck. He is not, at least at this juncture, getting any surgery, getting shut down for the remainder of the season. Right now, it is 2 to 3 weeks of him not throwing. They're calling it a flexor strain. And so 2 to 3 weeks of no throwing, and then they're just going to keep an eye on this. Now, that does not mean in 2 or 3 weeks he's going to be coming back. After the 2 or 3 weeks of not throwing, if he gets the all clear, then he'll start to ramp back up. So best case scenario, if these 2 to 3 weeks are enough, you're probably looking mid to late June, probably early July, best case scenario for AJ Puck to join this bullpen. But when after the initial injury and the second opinion, you're thinking this guy's done for the year and maybe the beginning of next year, the fact that he may be able to come back and pitch for this team at some point this season, I would classify that in the good news category.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we thought this season was over. Now he's just missing, a series of weeks?
Oh, I love what you've done there. Yes. As of this moment for AJ Puck, it is just a series of weeks. Yes. But that's, again, he has to get through those 2 or 3 weeks, then get cleared to ramp back up and to start throwing, and has to make sure that at every milestone, he's not feeling anything. That's a lot of hurdles to clear.
We could come back in a few weeks, and it could be much longer than we have talked about. No doubt about it. But I still think you take that as a positive news this morning.
Yes. And again, he's going to have to not throw for 2 or 3 weeks, and then he's going to have to ramp up. And the first thing he'll do is just play catch. And then they'll keep an eye on him. How do you feel? Do you feel anything? Okay, we're just going to keep playing catch. And then they'll advance to throwing from a certain distance. And then he'll see how he does with that. And then they'll increase the distance. And if at any point he has a setback, he goes back to the beginning of this process. So that's why the 2 to 3 week thing is, I think, best case scenario, end of June, early July. Best case scenario for when we see AJ Puck back on the mound, if we see him back on the mound. But again, to not immediately rule him out for the remainder of the season is definitely good news. That has been our focus over the last week or so, is been the bullpen. Well, there needs to be some attention paid to this rotation, because after last night, they went into last night's game 24th in baseball as a pitching staff in ERA with a 4.38 ERA. The starters' ERA going into last night's game was 4.21. That was 23rd in all of baseball. That number clearly went up after allowing 8 runs from Eduardo Rodriguez. His ERA has moved north of 6. He's got a 6.06 ERA. I shared this stat with you a little bit earlier, but among all qualified MLB pitchers, he holds the 3rd worst ERA. He's allowed 22 earned runs over 32 2/3 innings pitched. And oh, by the way, the Diamondbacks are the only team in baseball that have 2 starters that have allowed 20 earned runs or more. Eduardo Rodriguez in his 22, and Zach Gallen is also over that 20 mark. Outside of Brandon Pfaadt, this entire rotation is one big, gigantic question mark. I think Eduardo Rodriguez is not a question mark. I think we just know what he is. He's not a very good pitcher right now. I think Corbin Burns is very much a question mark. Although the arrow is trending in the right direction. We'll see how he pitches tonight. These are the games. It is games like this where you want to have Corbin Burns on your team. You just played a terrible game the night before. You were non-competitive. Were never in the game. Everything went against you. The Mets played one of the best defensive innings you're ever going to see played in the game of baseball last night. Everything went their way last night. Everything. And so you need to turn to somebody. This is game 2 of a 16-game gauntlet. You've lost 5 of your last 6. This is the guy you want on the mound. Take out what he's done so far this season. If I told you before the season started, the Diamondbacks were going to be going through a stretch where they lost 5 of 6 games, who would you want on the mound to try to turn things around? I think everybody would pick Corbin Burns. And so that's who is on the mound tonight for this team, hopefully to try to stop the bleeding that has occurred for this organization, especially when it comes to their pitching staff outside of Brandon Pfaadt. That is what Corbin Burns' task is tonight. And we asked this the last time he was out. Could we see vintage Corbin Burns? Was he better last time out? Absolutely. Was it vintage? I would not say it was vintage. He now needs to be that stopper. He now needs to get this back on track tonight because you have a rotation that right now is giving you no chance to gain ground in the National League West, giving you no chance to stay above the fray, to tread above water. This rotation's not giving you that chance. This rotation is actively dragging you back down. And if Corbin Burns can't do it tonight, it's going to be 6 of your last 7 that you would have lost. This rotation that was supposed to be a strength has very quickly turned into a massive, massive weakness.
This is a really important start for Corbin Burns. I think just to build confidence, and right away you look at the numbers and matchups, and they're scary. Alonso, who has faced him the second most other than Lindor, in his 15 ABs has 3 homers. He's hitting 400 with a 1,500 OPS. Bang, bang, bang. I mean, it's Lindor hitting 333 in 18 at-bats. Bang, bang, bang. Smaller sample size for these guys, but Nimmo hitting over 400, Soto hitting over 400. Bang. All these guys have dominated Burns. It's just not the recipe you want to see for a great start tonight in New York. I also want to tell you this, so they've had 29 games.
Yes.
Your top 5 have started all 29 to this point.
Yes. You will, after tonight, cross our fingers, but after tonight, everybody would have made every start 6 turns through.
This will be the 6th turn through for every pitcher. All 30 will have 6 starts. But coming into tonight, 29, Corbin Burns the only one with 5 starts compared to everybody else with 6. 12 quality starts out of the 29 so far.
Less than half, less than 50% of your starts for a rotation that was supposed to be a strength have not been quality starts. It's just not a recipe for winning baseball. You have to get quality starting pitching. And the fact that we are 30 games into the season and questioning the starting pitching of this team, this is not what I thought the conversation was going to be. I thought the conversation was going to be, did they get it right by letting Jock Peterson and Christian Walker walk and giving those opportunities to Josh Naylor and Pavin Smith? I thought we were going to have a conversation of, has Corbin Carroll found it, or is he still struggling? I thought our conversation was going to be, have they got this bullpen right with a closer by committee approach? Those felt like they were going to be the topics of conversation. And yet here we are talking about a rotation that is 24th in baseball in ERA. You're not. If that's going to be what this team gets from their starting pitching, they're not going to be a 500 baseball team. Now, it's 30 games in, small sample size. Let's give it time. But we are 6 turns through. And It's not pretty. And tonight you've got Corbin Burns on the mound against a Mets team that's using an opener. They're using an opener tonight. They don't have a starter. They want to give some of their guys an extra day, so they're going to a bullpen game today. This is one you have to have, and you have Corbin Burns on the mound in order to do it. Hour number 1 of the program in the books. When we come back, did the Arizona Cardinals get the steal of the NFL draft? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
An MLS showdown in the desert. Get ready for a night of top-tier soccer as Phoenix Rising hosts Major League Soccer's Houston Dynamo for the first time ever, Wednesday, May 7th at 7 p.m. It's a round of 32 clash in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and tickets start at just $9. The first 2,000 fans from the gates will score a limited edition Phoenix Rising t-shirt, and the night features fan-favorite drink specials throughout the stadium. It's more than a match. It's a moment. Bring the noise. Bring your jersey. Bring a friend or 5. Get your tickets now at phxrisingfc.com.
The legacy continues. Pantera. The heaviest tour of the summer.
What you say?
Tearing up Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, August 26th. With Amon Amarth. On sale now at LiveNation.com. Part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday.
And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Get your to-do list ready. The Home Depot just opened a new store in Surprise. So whether you're making simple upgrades or full-on renovations, the Home Depot has you covered with great prices on tools, materials, rentals, and more. Plus, order online or with the Home Depot app and get it all delivered to your door fast and free. Visit us at 16601 Cactus Road in Surprise and start your next project today with the Home Depot.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Yo, this is Flavor Flav, and I am coming at you with one of my flavor faves, Raisin Cane's. So when you're looking for flavor fast, order in a flash, online or on their app. Raisin Cane's. One love.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
12 o'clock hour of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Chris Schubert with you as we enter hour number 2 of the program. Appreciate you being here, however you may be listening. Maybe you're streaming us on the KDUS AM 1060 app. And I know I said this yesterday, but I saw it again this morning. I was looking at the numbers. A lot of you listening on the app, and you're not registered, you're not logged in while you're listening. What are you doing? You're missing out on opportunities. We have already twice this season given out tickets to go see the Diamondbacks just for listening on the app. That's all you got to do. You're logged in, you're registered, you listen for the required number of hours. It's 2 hours. And you're entered for a chance to win Diamondbacks tickets just for listening on the app. And there are people out there, you're listening on the app and you're not registered. So when these things pop up, you don't have a chance. Everybody else has a chance. You're just listening and you're like, nah, I'm good. I'm okay. I don't like free stuff. What are you doing?
They're just throwing away the opportunity.
Throwing away the opportunity. Because you know what? You're supposed to be better prepared. You are supposed to be better prepared for this.
You have to be.
Because what you're saying,
who cares?
And that seems pretty ridiculous. So if you're listening on the KDUS AM 1060 app, make sure you're registered. Make sure you're logged in, because I think we've got another giveaway coming up next week. And so you're going to want to be in when we do these things. And football season's going to be here before you know it. We're going to do a bunch of stuff around football season. So why don't you jump in, cannonball into the pool now, and just join us. It's got everything. You can listen to the show over there. You can watch the show over there. You can do it all via the KDUS AM 1060. You got to do something. Please download the KDUS. You know, we should make that. That's a great promo. Hold on. All right, let's play a little game here. Let's do a promo for the KDUS AM 1060 app, and we can use the drops for this. Okay. How should we do this? Because I want to, there's a bunch of drops. We are going to have some of those tough conversations. I want to get that in there. What if we just took a shot? There's that we need to get in there. You got to do something. And there's a lot for us to choose from if we're trying to make this promo.
Bang, bang, bang.
I don't know how that's going to fit, but
knock them all off.
We can certainly give it a shot. Okay. Let's try this. All right. Let's give it a shot. All right. You got to make sure you download the KDUS AM 1060 app. It's your one-stop shop to make sure that you have everything that you need here on the station. You can listen to my show. You can listen to Jim Rome. You can listen to Dan Patrick on the way in. And you have an opportunity to win prizes just for listening on the app. So all I'm asking, what if we just took a shot? That's all you have to do. Because if you don't, we are going to have some of those tough conversations. So instead, start your day. You're supposed to be better prepared. Download the KDUS AM 1060 app. You got to do something. And instead of, he took a potty break in a weird spot, just join us and listen to KDUS AM 1060. How'd we do? Is that good?
I love that.
Should we cut that and use
love that? Let's use that
as our promo for the KDUS AM 1060
We're going to have that thing fired up, ready to go here in a couple hours.
That thing's going to be on the soundboard by the end of the program, just to troll how bad I was. Welcome into hour number 2 of the program. Back to our regularly scheduled course of events. The Arizona Cardinals, I think by many estimations, had a very good 2025 NFL draft. We're very good across the board. Started on night 1 with snagging Walter Nolan with the 16th overall pick, continued into day 2 with what they were able to accomplish at pick number 47 by getting Will Johnson. And that's where I want to start hour number 2 of the program. Because the Arizona Cardinals may have gotten one of, if not the steals of the 2025 NFL draft. Matt Miller over on ESPN this morning ranked the 100 best picks, steals, and fits from the 2025 NFL draft. And the number 2 pick for him, Will Johnson to the Cardinals at pick number 47. Here's what Matt had to say. Quote, Johnson was a top 10 player in this class when looking solely at film and not accounting for injuries. While he didn't want to slip to round 2, Jonathan Gannon's system is a great fit for him. Johnson has Trayvon Diggs-esque ball hawking skills and is a shutdown corner when healthy. This is one of the steals of the draft as far as value, as he was taken 40 spots lower than I had him ranked, end quote. This was a top 10 player on almost any board. I don't know if I saw a big board in the 2025 NFL draft that had Will Johnson outside the top 10. I know PFF had him in the top 10. Matt Miller had him in the top 10. Mel Kiper had him in the top 10. I can't remember offhand a big board that I saw that had Will Johnson outside of the top 10. It's a home run. It's a steal. All because of a concern about his knee, which was a legitimate concern. We told you, I think the Monday before the draft, Albert Breer reported that there were not short-term concerns about his knee, but long-term concerns, longevity concerns with this knee. A knee that apparently hasn't been an issue, according to Will Johnson, for the last 2 seasons. He says it's been 100% for the last 2 years, his knee. But it was a concern for some of these teams. And you understand why he falls out of the first round because of the knee. And then teams have to make a decision. They have to make a decision on where they're comfortable with the medicals. And when you're dealing with a knee issue that some teams feel was a long-term concern about his ability to be healthy and have a long NFL career, even investing a second-round pick, especially when you are the Arizona Cardinals and you had limited draft capital. You were on a team like Cleveland, for example, flush with draft picks. They had 2 picks early on day 2. How many picks did the Browns have in total after they made all of their trades? They traded back with Jacksonville to let them come all the way up. How many picks did they end up with in total? They had 2 in the second. They had a first. That's 3. 2/3. They had 2, 4, 6. They had 7 picks. They had 1 more pick than the Cardinals. Let's try to find a team that had just a ton of picks. Can't think of a team off the top of my head. I'm just clicking around to try to find a team that had just a bevy of picks. The Baltimore Ravens had, what is this? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They had 11 picks. The Baltimore Ravens with 11 picks can take a risk in the second round to draft Will Johnson because they have 11 picks. When you have 6 selections in the 2025 NFL draft, you have to make sure, and you're a team like the Arizona Cardinals, you have to make sure that you nail all of those picks, that you feel comfortable with all of those picks. You don't want to take too much risk. And so if there was a team that maybe would have some extra scrutiny on Will Johnson's knee, it would be a team like the Cardinals who had limited draft capital, yet they still invested a premium asset. Everybody focuses on the first round and what you do with your first round pick. I care about what you do on day 2. Day 3 are your lottery tickets. Those are your flyers. Those are your backup developmental projects. Long-term, hopefully these guys pan out. Your day 1 and day 2 picks, those are starters. Those are guys that make immediate impacts. They drafted a guy who has a knee issue in the second round. They should have ran away from this if they thought the risk was that high. They didn't. They ran towards it. They ran towards Will Johnson. They said, we're going to take Will Johnson anyway. This could be the steal of the draft. If he is healthy and if the knee isn't a problem, they got a shutdown corner inside the top 50. They got a shutdown corner with the 47th pick in the 2025 NFL draft. They got a shutdown corner that is going to deepen a position group that was pretty strong as it is and give them way more options at their disposal, which is a great thing for Jonathan Gannon. This is a home run. This is more important. We loved the Walter Nolan pick. We loved the meat and potatoes nature, substance over sizzle of round 1 and what they did with Walter Nolan. I love everything about this Will Johnson pick. And there is a world where Will Johnson makes a bigger impact for the Cardinals in 2025 than Walter Nolan does.
It's a high possibility. You know, people weren't concerned about this injury for year 1. That was the big takeaway, is that this is a chronic issue. This is something he'll deal with throughout his career. But the reports were that people weren't worried about its immediate impact.
No, it was not a short-term issue, it was a long-term issue.
And so that is a benefit to the Cardinals. And it's not like we haven't seen great players with issues in the knee, in the ankle, fall out of the first round. Remember, Sidney Jones was a top 10 player, top 15 player. He fell to the second round. It didn't work out for Sidney Jones. He wasn't this all-pro, but he was a good player for a little bit. And Landon Dickerson a few years ago, we saw him fall because of an ACL tear into the second round. I think the Eagles would tell you, yes, sign us up, do it again.
The other end of that spectrum is Caleb Farley.
100%.
That is the player that is the poster child for taking on a player who has an injury profile, because it's not just the knee for Will Johnson. He missed time this past season for Michigan because of what they described as a turf toe thing. He had a hamstring issue during his workout. I mean, so the injury thing goes beyond just his knee. But Caleb Farley is the poster child of when an injury profile tells you that a player probably shouldn't go early, don't take him early. Tennessee kind of flew too close to the sun, and they wanted to take Caleb Farley. And to nobody's surprise, with a guy who had that type of injury profile, it did not work out for Caleb Farley. But there are examples at both ends of this spectrum. Somebody who had an injury profile that concerned a lot of teams, they got to the pros, it was not that big of a deal. Then there are players, Caleb Farley, a very recent example of a guy who had a major injury profile. Teams were concerned about it. It was the reason for a slide. He was still taken early, and it didn't pan out. There are both ends of this spectrum. I trust that the Cardinals felt comfortable enough with his knee to invest a top 50 selection into him. A top 50 selection is still what I would describe as a premium draft asset. I am not investing a top 50 pick in a guy if I'm not all but certain that dude is going to be a starter for me. A top 50 pick, I'm trying to land a starter, a regular every week player for me. And so That tells me where the Cardinals are at with their concern level of Will Johnson. And I think he is going to thrive in this system with Jonathan Gannon. And I think he's going to make Garrett Williams better. He is going to make Max Melton better. He is going to make this entire room better. And he's going to bring some really nice. This is one of the things that is an underrated part of building a roster. I like to have some good old-fashioned internal competition. The external competition, the week to week, that's great. But in training camp, in OTAs, and in preseason, I want some internal competition. I want Garrett Williams and Max Melton to be worried that Will Johnson's going to take their spot. I want Will Johnson to have the fire to take that spot from those two guys. I want there to be that internal competition, that friendly competition, to the drive to get better, to be the best in that room. And I think Will Johnson provides exactly that to this team defensively. I love this pick. You're seeing it all across the sport being hailed as a value steal from the Cardinals. And even if it maybe doesn't work out perfectly, I love that they took on this risk. I love that they rolled the dice inside the top 50 on a player who, again, the knee was healthy the last couple of years. The knee was not a problem. There was other things that were an issue, and the Cardinals must feel really, really comfortable with what they saw in the medicals.
The saying we have kept going back to is substance over sizzle. This one is sizzle. This was probably their only sizzle pick of the draft, but it's okay because you got a player at a spot where he was extremely overvalued, right? Like he was never supposed to get to 47.
He wasn't supposed to get out of the first round.
We talked about a scenario where he didn't get to 16.
Correct.
And so you get him 31 picks later in a spot where we all liked him. And this kid, if he stays healthy, was the number one corner in the draft, and there is no doubt about it.
Yeah, extremely talented player whose health was the reason why he fell. And the Cardinals stopped that fall at 47, and they snagged a player that could very easily he could make the biggest impact out of anybody they drafted in the 2025 class next season. That's how much of a difference maker he can be as long as everything checks out health-wise. 480-864-1060 is the phone number. You can also join us over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel if you want to watch the show. On the other side, is it way too early to talk about making a replacement in the Diamondbacks rotation? That's next. The lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Breaking Benjamin. Stay forever. And 3 Days Grace. Live. October 8th at Desert Diamond Arena with special guest Return to Dust. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Don't miss Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace, presented by the Big Red Radio.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like unloading the grocery bags from your car and you decide you can get all the bags in one trip.
I can do it.
So you load up all 14 grocery bags on both arms. Sure, you can't feel your fingers and forgot to take your house keys out.
Almost there.
But you never put down one bag and you made it inside all in one trip, like the bag-carrying boss you are.
Yes.
Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
Looking to sell your home? Hi, I'm Andrew the Home Buyer, and I love making it easy to sell your house. I'll personally come and give you a cash offer the same day we meet, and I'll beat any other offer. It really is that easy to sell your home, and no need to clean or fix anything. I'll buy it in as-is condition. Call me, Andrew the Home Buyer, today to get your same-day cash offer. Visit andrewthehomebuyer.com.
Hi, Luis Gonzalez here. Want to bet? Feel the thrill of Casino Arizona with 1,400 of the hottest slots and nonstop table game action. We make winners, no experience necessary. Join us for the best bingo in the valley with daily sessions. Indulge in all-you-can-eat Eagles buffet or enjoy fine dining experience at the award-winning Choya Steakhouse. Enjoy top-notch local entertainment, tribute bands, and viewing parties at CAZ Sports Bar, just off the 101 in McKellips. Casino Arizona, uniquely Arizona.
Is Above the Noise. For years, the Milwaukee Bucks were the NBA's model of stability and star power. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the two-time MVP, franchise cornerstone, gave Milwaukee a chance every single night. And then they went all in, paired him with Dame Lillard, and the message was clear, title or bust. But after a 5-game exit at the hands of the rival Indiana Pacers, the cracks in the plans are hard to ignore. Lillard is 34. He's got to come back from an Achilles injury and father time as well. Also, Brook Lopez and Kyle Kuzma. Can they last much longer? And the bench, once tough and gritty, suddenly feels a step slower in the Eastern Conference. So the uncomfortable question is, how much longer will Giannis stay in green? He's been loyal, patient, and all in, but the clock is ticking. Milwaukee mortgaged depth and flexibility for a second star, and it didn't pay off. The Greek Freak eventually may decide it's time to chase championships elsewhere. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. You don't wear football cleats to play tennis, so why wear running shoes to play pickleball? Tyrol pickleball shoes make shoes built for how the game is really played. Quick cuts, fast stomps, gritty court surfaces. Tyrol has a Vibram outsole for grip, a wide toe box for comfort, and the kind of support that keeps your ankles out of trouble. We've tried them, and trust me, you'll feel the difference. Check them out at TyrolPickleball.com. Tyrol pickleball shoes, purpose-built for pickleball.
Rarely does a product come to the game of professional golf that is so quickly embraced by the pros. Shaden Precision Eyewear is that product. Go to SeeBetterPlayBetter.com and find out why Shaden sunglasses are trusted by tour players and their caddies. Shaden is so confident in the product, they are offering a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to SeeBetterPlayBetter.com and use the code VISION to receive 20% off your order. That's SeeBetterPlayBetter.com and the code VISION to experience golf's finest eyewear.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
We've been spending most of our day today breaking down what happened last night for the Diamondbacks. An 8-3 loss in the opener of their 3-game set against the Mets. The first of what is a 16-game gauntlet sees them playing a bunch of teams in the National League that they are going to be directly competing with for playoff positioning and playoff spots. Got off to a rough start last night with Eduardo Rodriguez, whose ERA has soared above 6. 6.06 is where Eduardo Rodriguez's ERA sits after that start last night. And this was bubbling over the last couple of days out for Eduardo Rodriguez. Had that 10-hit performance against the Marlins, but only gave up 3 runs, gave up 4 runs in his last start, hasn't gotten all the help in the world defensively. The under-the-hood numbers were relatively okay. They painted a different picture than his actual results, and then had a blow-up yesterday where just he's a location command pitcher and did not have his location, did not have his command, and was setting the ball on a tee for everybody in that Mets lineup. Pete Alonso hits a homer. Francisco Lindor hits a home run. Starling Marte hits a home run. It was just a bad night out for Eduardo Rodriguez, who sports the worst ERA in the entire rotation for this team. And so that leads us to this question. Is it too early for us to discuss a change to this rotation? Producer Evan gave us the stat earlier in the program, 29 starts so far this season for this group of 5 starters, 12 quality starts out of those 29. I'm not really great at math. I know that's less than 50%. Do we know what that percentage is? What is 12 out of 29? Producer Evan, can you give me that math? Because it's going to take me way too long to pull out the calculator app on my phone. I can try to do it. See if I can do
41%.
it. So less than 50%. 41% of the Diamondbacks starts this season have been quality starts. That's just not good enough. That's just not going to get it done. And I don't want to be the guy that sounds the alarm bell 29 games into the season. Tonight will be game 30 of 162. I don't want to be this guy. But you see how well the Dodgers are playing. You see how well the Giants are playing. You see how well the Padres are playing. You understand how much of a battle this is going to be, and you need to stay close. Now, pitching is always going to keep you close. But remember what we said that they needed to accomplish during these 16 games. Stay at that 3.5 back or be closer. Well, they've already moved a step backwards. They are 4.5 out of first place. They are 4.5 games back of the Dodgers, and they're 3-7 in their last 10. Those are not the stats that you want to hear after game 1 of this 16-game stretch. Those are not positive indicators that this team is going in the right direction. So, about a fifth of the way through the workload for the pitchers. Eduardo Rodriguez has made 6 starts. You usually make around 30, 32 starts in an ideal world. So 6 times 5 is 30. We're about a fifth of the way through the workload if everybody makes every start. And Eduardo Rodriguez has a 6 ERA. While you have somebody out in the bullpen who we talked about yesterday, you are keeping ready and you want to stretch out and keep stretched out in case you need him. And yesterday, Ryan Nelson did a fantastic job making sure that the Diamondbacks didn't have to use anybody else in that bullpen. So everybody not named Ryan Nelson has had at least 2 days off going into tonight. So everybody should be fresh. Everybody should be available. There should be no excuses if the bullpen gives it away tonight. There should be 0. Everybody's fresh. Everybody's had time off. Last 2 days, no pitching for anybody not named Ryan Nelson. So that excuse is off the table. But Ryan Nelson working the same day as Eduardo Rodriguez put this thought in my head. The next time out, could Ryan Nelson get that start? Should Ryan Nelson get that start in place of Eduardo Rodriguez? Because the Diamondbacks have committed themselves here. They've got 2 more years on this contract. They signed a 4-year deal. This is year 2. They're halfway through. There is a mutual option for the last year of that deal that kicks in. I think it's a vesting option. It kicks in with certain innings that Erod pitches, but those innings are tied to next season. So his workload this year is unaffected. So it's not like if they take him out of the rotation and he doesn't throw that many innings, it helps them with the vesting option for that last year of that deal. Those innings are for next season. So you would be making this decision for the best interest of the Diamondbacks in 2025. And I wonder how many more times out Erod is going to get before the calls for Ryan Nelson are going to continue to grow and grow and grow. I think it is probably a bit too early to make this kind of change because you don't want to make the change and then want to go right back. I think if you make the change, you're going to go with Ryan Nelson for a little bit here. He's going to get a runway a couple of times through. Do you get 4 more times through? Do you get to 10 starts, a third, and then make that decision? It does feel like we are reaching a fork in the road where the Diamondbacks are going to have to make a decision of, do we give Ryan Nelson a shot?
And the other question is, how deep can they go? How long can they get into the season with Ryan Nelson throwing out of the pen to then say, okay, we want you to come out as our 5th starter? Where's the line there? So it's a fine line to walk for them. I agree with you. It's too early to make the Erod switch just because you're 6 starts in. Let me get to 10. Let me get to 8 at the minimum and then make that change because you're right. You're not flipping back and forth. You make that change once, but you can't do it again. So once you make the move, you're committed to it. I just think that it's one of those things, though. You're watching every Erod start with a little bit of an extra eye.
Yeah, you're very closely paying attention to how sharp he is. You're paying attention to, is this the final start? And choosing 10 starts is as arbitrary as saying, I want to make a change right now. There is no material difference between 6 starts and 10 starts. At 6 starts, you're a 5th through the season. At 10 starts, you're now a 3rd through the season. So it is at least a bigger sample size, and baseball is a sample size sport. But at the end of the day, there isn't a ton of a difference between 6 and 10, other than that's 4 more chances for Eduardo Rodriguez to have nights like he had last night and give the Diamondbacks no chance. They had 0 chance last night when that's the type of starting pitching that they got. 0, none.
The other thing it does is gives you time to start ramping Ryan Nelson up 4 starts. Because right now, if you were to say, hey, next time through the rotation, Ryan Nelson, you're getting that 5th start, I don't think that's fair.
Well, yeah, he's not going to be able to give you a ton of length.
No.
Not at least right now. He threw 68 pitches last night in his outing last night. And ideally, if you're going to make the pivot back to Ryan Nelson, who, by the way, was one of their best starters in the second half last season, if you're going to make that change, you want him to be able to go 5, 6, 7 innings. You want him to be treated like a regular starter. Well, last time out for Ryan Nelson, he threw 68 pitches, and it was in 4 innings of work. It's the most innings that he's worked this season. He's worked 17 innings so far this season. 4 of them came last night, and he threw 68 pitches in that contest. And outside of the couple of bad outings he's had against Chicago, both at the beginning of the season and then that series that they played in Wrigley, he's been relatively great against everybody else. And last night is very much the type of appearance that the Diamondbacks want Ryan Nelson to get, because he threw 68 pitches over 4 innings. That's keeping him on a pace to be able to start. That's keeping him in a area where if they need to turn to somebody, if they want to skip Erod for a start, maybe give him some extra time to work on some stuff, you want to make a spot start, 4 innings, 68 pitches, I can get that from Ryan Nelson. I can turn to my bullpen, and I feel pretty good about things.
If you can get 4 innings and 68 pitches, maybe give me a 5th on a good day. But I don't hate that. You can make that change pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, but again, it requires outings like that. It is the opposite of going 2 1/3 innings against New York or going 2 1/3 against Tampa. You want length. You want him to be in mop-up role, but because the bullpen has been a clown car, they've asked him to kind of get themselves out of some jams and not be a true long man, swing guy, spot starter. It is that's the role they want him to be in, but they haven't been able to actually like ramp him up and have him in that role. It's been kind of weird so far. Last night was kind of a return to that role in some ways. I get it. Erod has a ERA over 6. Erod is not pitching very well. His last 3 times out, the best he did was 3 earned runs. Last night was 8 for the start before, 3 the start before that. It is 15 earned runs in his last 3 starts. That's just not going to get it done. That's not going to be sustainable for this rotation. We are going to get to a point where they're going to have to make a change if this doesn't get better. And maybe it's an arbitrary decision on our part, but we'll give you 4 more turns through. Erod, you're getting till 10 starts. And if after 10, that ERA is not going in the right direction, it's getting worse, or it's just not getting better, then yeah, you're going to have to make a pivot, and you're going to have to get Ryan Nelson out there and see if he can do any better, especially when he was one of your best pitchers in the second half of last season. On the other side of the break, let's get weird. Is it time for the Diamondbacks to try something bold to spark their team? I'll tell you what bold thing I want to suggest next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Nitro Circus is back with the all-new Off the Rails Tour. World-class daredevils and FMX, BMX, skate scooter, and more. Jaw-dropping stunts, high-flying tricks, and never-been-done showdowns. Friday, December 5th, Desert Diamond Arena. Visit Ticketmaster.com.
Welcome to Disneyland.
Get excited to join the Disneyland Resort 70th celebration. Because it's not a celebration without you. With all the decor, the new character outfits, and dazzling shows. Everyone's excited to join. Delight in special 70th experiences, like an all-new World of Color show, the returning favorite Paint the Night Parade, and so much more. The fun starts May 16th, 2025, only for a limited time. So come join us for this once-in-a-lifetime celebration with a special ticket offer as low as $100 per day with a special 4-day, 1-park-per-day ticket. Total price $400. Valid May 16 through August 14, 2025. Park ticket and reservation required. Visit Disneyland.com/70 ticket offer for details. Offering subject to capacity restrictions and change without notice.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, but our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Today at Denny's, buy an original Grand Slam or an All-American Slam and get another for just $1. It's the biggest, yummiest deal in America. 1 slam for $1. Only at Denny's. Valid at participating locations for dine-in only. Limited time offer.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
I need everybody to make sure they're sitting down. Cannot be standing while you're listening to this portion of the program. Because we're going to get a little weird. Because I'm going to make a suggestion I don't know if we've talked about here in town. Producer Evan, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to pull up the batting averages for everybody on the Diamondbacks. We need to be able, because if we're going to get weird, we have to have proof. We have to have reason and logic for us to embrace the weirdness. And so
I have them here.
I need you to just run through the lineup and just give me the batting averages. Give me the player and the batting average. Just go.
Okay, we're going to start by positionals. Okay. Because that's what I have up here. Gabby Moreno hitting 225 with a 556 OPS.
So below 230 hitting catcher. Got it.
Naylor obviously has been good. 318 with an 893 OPS.
He's been great. He is not the topic of this subject.
Tim Tawa, 200, 797.
He's been okay, but struggling as of late.
Perdomo, 260, 800.
And that's been kind of trending downwards. He's been on a little bit of a rough stretch as of late.
Eugenio Suarez, 198 with an 836 OPS, which is insane.
Even after hitting 4 home runs, still hitting below 200. But yes, to your point, an 800 OPS is certainly it'll play.
Lourdes Gurriel, 168 with a 519
Let's
OPS.
just circle that one. Let's just circle the 519 OPS and the 160 batting average from Lourdes Gurriel. We'll get back to that one.
Alec Thomas, 288 with a 748 OPS. Corbin Carroll, 298 with a 1,010 OPS.
That's pretty good.
And Pavin Smith, 347 with a 1117 OPS.
So Pavin Smith, Corbin Carroll, Josh Naylor, to some extent Eugenio Suarez, big offensive players for this team. Lourdes Gurriel and some others struggling offensively. And so I think it may be time for the Diamondbacks to embrace something a little outside of the box. And I think you know where I'm going. I think you know the direction that we are going to take this conversation. No, I am not saying that you should call up Jordan Lawler. That is not what I am saying right now. But is it time for Jordan Lawler, who so far in his minor league career has played every infield position other than first base? Is it time for Jordan Lawler to start getting some reps in the outfield? Why would I make this suggestion today? If you see the numbers that Lourdes Gurriel is putting up, you see the numbers that some of the other guys in this lineup are putting up, they are struggling offensively. They're struggling across the board right now, but they're struggling offensively. And at some point, I think Jordan Lawler is going to be up here, and he's going to be the everyday third baseman for this team. I think Eugenio Suarez, they're not going to bring him back after this season. And next year, Jordan Lawler is going to be the team's starting third baseman, patrolling that side of the infield alongside Geraldo Perdomo. I think that is going to be the left side of the infield for a long time. They've got Perdomo locked up long-term. Lawler is a young prospect, not even 23 yet. That's the future, right? But right now, down in Reno, these are the numbers for Jordan Lawler. He is first in runs. This is in the PCL. First in runs, first in hits, tied for fourth in doubles, tied for second in triples, tied for seventh in home runs, tied for second in extra base hits, tied for second in RBIs, tied for second in stolen bases, third in average hitting 356, third in on-base percentage with a 451, second in slugging with 644, the top OPS of 1.095 with 67 total bases. For a team right now that is struggling offensively, I would be trying to figure out whatever I could possibly do to get to the big league level so that he can help me contribute. And one of the things that I may try at the minor league level is, hey, Jordan, I may stick you in the corner today. You may be in left field. I want you to get some reps out there. I may put you in right field. The more traditional thing you could do for somebody who's played some second, has played some shortstop, is you can put him in center field. Usually those are your best athletes, and so your best athletes can go into center field if you want to take a middle infielder and put them into center field. The team that the Diamondbacks are playing tonight are doing that with their 2 second basemen. They're putting them sometimes in center field. So the thing that I want to campaign for, the weirdness that I want to campaign for today, is I wonder if it's time to get Jordan Lawler a little bit of opportunity in the outfield, whether it's in the corners or whether it's in center, to add to his positional versatility so that they can fast track in some ways his ability to contribute for this 2025 team. The name that I invoked in our morning meeting was Ben Zobrist. Ben Zobrist was a player who could play second, could play anywhere on the diamond. You can put him in right field and left field. He was a Swiss Army knife. Ben Zobrist played little, if any, outfield in the minor leagues before he was called up. And then at the big league level, they did this experiment with making him a super utility player. Now, Jordan Lawler as a prospect, a hitting prospect, way better than Ben Zobrist. But if I'm trying to fast track a way to improve my offense with a guy who's down in the minor leagues, putting up these type of numbers is the best hitter in the PCL, and I get it. It is a hitter-friendly environment, but I don't want to let 2025 come and go and let my season slip through the cracks and not say that I tried everything to make my team better, everything to maybe save my season. And if it was me, if I was Mike Hazen, I would just throw the question out there. Could we maybe put Jordan Lawler in the outfield? Could we maybe just get him some reps there so he's comfortable, so that if I need to call him up to the big league level? Now, Torrey, who has always said, we're not calling this kid up unless he's playing 7 days a week, unless he's playing every single day. Well, if you call him up and you know that he can play second, you know that he can play short, you know that he could play third, and you know that in a pinch you can put him in any of the outfield spots, you now have your pathway to call him up and have him on the bench, quote unquote, but use him as a super utility player where he's playing a different position every single day. Now, is that a lot to ask of your top prospect? Absolutely. But if I was this organization and I've got an offense and I've got a left fielder in particular that's struggling, I wonder if I'm not having some meetings or some conversations asking if Jordan Lawler could maybe take some fly balls before the game in left field and right field and in center field, and I may get him in there in the outfield during a game to get him some reps to try to fast track his way to the big league level.
In the morning meeting, when you invoked the Ben Zobrist name, I immediately went to see, what did he do in the minors? How many times did he play in the outfield? And through all his years in the minors, 2 years, he only played 5 games out in left and right, never played a game in center field, and it wasn't long into his major league career. He was strapping him up in center.
Primarily, Jordan Lawler is an infielder, right? When they call him up, he's going to play some third base, he'll play some short, he'll play some second, they'll move him around. I get it. I know Jordan Lawler long-term is going to be the third baseman. I am not trying to change Jordan Lawler's long-term projection for the Diamondbacks, but what I am saying is for right now, can we get a little creative? Can we think a little outside the box while a guy who's putting up stupid numbers down in the PCL and is clearly seeing the ball really well right now, and the best you can offer me is we don't have a spot for him. You've got a 160 hitting left fielder. Your left fielder is hitting 160. You sent down Jake McCarthy as your fourth outfielder because he was not hitting. You as an offense, Corbin Carroll's doing great. Pavin Smith, Josh Naylor, they're all hitting above average. They have been great players for this team so far. But as an offense, you're somewhat struggling. Can we think a little outside the box here for a guy who is the best hitter in the PCL, is one of the top prospects in the game, is your top prospect, is in your long-term plans, and could maybe be a spark to this offense and be a spark to the team everywhere? If he's a guy that comes up at 23 years old and says, yeah, I'll play everywhere. I'll play short today. I'll play left field tomorrow. I'll play third base on Wednesday. Sunday, you'll see me in right field. If he shows that he can be a Swiss Army knife, that is going to motivate everybody in that room. And so, again, long-term, third baseman. But that versatility can help him. And you know what? If you try it down there and it's a complete disaster, that's where I want you to try things. I want you to try things in Reno. I want you to try things in the minor leagues so we can rule them out when these guys get to the big league level. I don't want to call him up and then have the conversation of, hey, could he play left field? Let's do this now. Especially when, from a hitting perspective, he's showing you he's checking every single box. Now, refine him as a prospect to where he adds another tool to his toolbox and perhaps can help the 2025 team sooner rather than later.
And I will tell you, it does give me confidence in his ability to do this. He's played 14 games at second base, 5 at third, 6 at short, and he's DH'd this year.
So in Reno, they're already doing this with him.
They're already moving him around. It's not like he's played every career game at second. And now we're going to say, hey, go out in the outfield, go play third. No, he's used to moving around, whether it's in the infield or in the outfield. He's used to playing different positions. So that does give me a little bit more confidence in the ability to try some of this stuff.
I would try it. And I told you we were going to get weird. I told you to sit down because I was going to throw something out there that I saw a fantasy baseball story talking about Jordan Lawler and how well he was hitting in the minor leagues. And I apologize. I'd love to give the author credit, but the author pointed out, why are the Diamondbacks not giving him reps in center field to help with his versatility? And I read it and I was like, that's the answer. That's the ticket. If you want Jordan Lawler to be able to contribute this year, why not throw him in the outfield to get more reps so that he can be more versatile for the Diamondbacks, so that there is a pathway for him to be able to contribute this season. Long-term, he's still your third baseman who in a pinch is going to go play second and short and move around. But for this season, this guy is crushing the ball down in Reno. For a while there, he was making it impossible to ignore. Then Suarez has a 4-home run game. We thought on Monday we were going to retire this, right? We thought we weren't going to have Lawler Watch anymore. I want to put it back on the table. I want to put Lawler Watch back on the menu. And the way that you do it is he becomes so versatile that all bets are off for what he's able to contribute to this team. One more segment. We've got the leftovers. We will do that next. It's the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind. Oh my. Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Judas Priest and Alice Cooper. The Metal Gods, Judas Priest. The Godfather of Shock Rock, Alice Cooper. October 22nd, Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater with special guest, Corrosion of Conformity. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Presented by 100.7 KSLX, part of the America First Credit Union Concert Series.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at all bashes and select AJ's Fine Foods.
Ooh, Del Taco?
Yep, they got these new boxes that are loaded with my faves.
LB boxes, come on, can I get a Del, yeah? Del, yeah.
What was that?
Oh, I bring these guys everywhere. Really enhances the experience.
Introducing El Big Boxes from Del Taco. Choose from the $5 Classico, the $7 Mex Faves, and $9 Amerimex box. More food, more flavor, more value. Only at Del Taco.
Del, yeah.
Price of participation may vary.
Midweek ASU baseball continues here on KDUS AM 1060. Join the Sun Devils as they wrap up their 2-game series against Long Beach State. ASU looks to hone their skills and earn some more wins as the season continues. Join the voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy, with the live call this Wednesday night. It's Game 2 between ASU and Long Beach State. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:30. Right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com/Sun Devils.
Back to wrap up today's edition of the program. Appreciate you joining us. We hand the show over to the producer of the show. He's got the leftovers, all the stories that we didn't get to. I just sit back, relax, and react to whatever he brings to the table. Most of the time, I have no idea what's coming. Today is a day where I have zero clue what is on the menu, and we are a little pressed for time. We went overtime there in that last segment talking about Jordan Lawler playing the outfield. So, producer Evan, I will waste no more time, and I will hand the show over to you, my friend.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. Last night, kind of a crazy debacle. So we'll start with Pacers officially eliminated the Bucks in Game 5. After the game, Tyrese Halliburton's father and Giannis got into it a little bit.
A little bit.
Yelling at each other, up in each other's faces. just a lot going on there at the end of the game. Hard to kind of decipher through it all.
What a terrible look for Tyrese Halliburton and his dad in particular. You're going to go onto the court and talk trash to Giannis. And I watched a video today of Giannis's immediate reaction when Tyrese Halliburton's dad was on the court saying something to him. This is before they went, head to head, where it was like a headbutt between the two. And I thought Giannis was very well composed in that moment, because I don't know if he knew who that was, but even if he did, you just have somebody on the court, you just got eliminated. And instead of celebrating with his son or just celebrating with the team, this guy is saying something to you, talking trash to you. And I thought Giannis was very well composed. I thought Giannis had a great answer in the postgame. And I think anybody who is mad at Giannis for the way he conducted himself, I'm out. I disagree with you strongly. I think Giannis was very composed, even in the heated exchange where they were head-to-head and the pushing and shoving that occurred a little bit later. I think overall Giannis was very well composed for what was a situation that just was bizarre.
I mean, you can go back and watch it on Twitter, but I agree. I don't know how you could be upset with how Giannis acted. Yes, sure, they got up into each other's face kind of the second time around. But if you lost a series, season over, this could be his last game in Milwaukee, the place he had spent his entire career to this point, and that happens?
Right. To be that composed, I thought was impressive.
It was extremely, extremely impressive. Okay, moving to football. USA Today did way too early NCAA top 25 after spring practices. Arizona State on the list at 21. I thought they got a little cheated. Thought they should have been higher.
It's the defending Big 12 champions. The defending Big 12 champions who have a Heisman candidate at quarterback. They have one of the best young head coaches in the game. They have one of the best young wide receivers in the game. They had a pretty good recruiting class. I know they lost Cam Scatterbo, but they've got a couple of players who we're talking about as early draft picks next year. If you're Kenny Dillingham, you probably love this, right? You probably love that you're being doubted. You probably love that you're only 21. You're probably going to use it as bulletin board material when the AP Top 25, the first coaches poll comes out and the rankings come out in the summer, and there are some Big 12 teams in front of ASU. I'd love, if I was Kenny, I would be rooting for that hard.
There's 4 Big 12 teams in front of you.
That
feels disrespectful.
Now, see, I love it. I would embrace that. You're right. It's disrespectful. And we are able to say that it is disrespectful. And we are able to say that it is foolish to not have the defending Big 12 champs as the best Big 12 team. But if you're Kenny, you love this. This is bulletin board material. This is how you keep your guys motivated.
I have this on every kid's locker this morning.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Just like Kenny, and this, Kenny's like this because he kept playing "We Are the Champions" during spring practice a couple of weeks ago, just over and over and over again, just to get his players mad so that they stopped focusing on last year. He's going to use this as fuel if there's a bunch of Big 12 teams that are ranked in front of them. Absolutely.
They did their fan fest on Friday.
It wasn't a spring game. It was a fan fest.
Looks like they got a pretty good turnout. So it
you
should
were
be
there,
another exciting year. Yeah.
It was a good time?
It was a good time.
You had a good time. Okay, that's good.
So obviously we've heard about the Shedeur Sanders prank call. Today news came out that Falcons DC Jeff Ulbrich has been fined for his son's involvement in the Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, Jeff Ulbrich fined $100,000. The Falcons fined $250,000 for the leaking of Shedeur Sanders' phone number that led to the prank phone call by Jeff Ulbrich's son. I think the Falcons have handled this correctly. I think Jeff Ulbrich, who spoke with the media today, I saw some quotes circulating on social media, looks like he has handled it the right way. I don't know if this is we've never really had a situation like this before, so I don't. Usually I like to look to precedent to try to figure out what's a fair punishment. I don't know what a reasonable punishment is. I know that there are some people out there that wanted to see them get a draft pick taken away for this. Does it really rise to that level that a team should lose their draft pick? And I'm asking honestly, I don't know what the right punishment is for this. Because you're punishing Ulbrich not for the prank phone call, but for the leaking of the sensitive information. You're fining the Falcons not for the phone call, but because the information, the phone number got leaked. And so is a draft pick?
That feels too heavy.
Take the prank phone call out of it. Let's just say, for example, information got leaked. You finding a team a draft pick for that? And I know the prank phone call is what made this a story, but what you're finding them for is you're not safeguarding that type of information. And a draft pick feels to me too strong. Because do you really think? Because when you punish a team, you want that to discourage other teams from doing it in the future. Do you really think that fine or no fine, this is going to happen again?
No. This was a careless mistake. This wasn't an act and being, intent with releasing information.
Jeff Ulbrich left his tablet out on the counter and the number was there.
At his own home.
Right. So that's, and I'm joking in some ways that the tablet was left out, but that's basically what this boils down to. It wasn't like he hacked into the system and got the number. Like a tablet was left out with the information on it. I think everyone's going to be smarter than that. So do I know if it's the right fine? I don't, but I don't know what the right punishment would have been. That's going to do it for us here on this edition of The Lunch Break. Jim Rome coming up next. Evan, thank you for all that you do. Everybody, have a great rest of your Wednesday. We will talk to you tomorrow. See ya.